Hello and welcome to the Pinkbike podcast. I'm Mike Kasmer, and with me I've got Matt Beer, Dario DiGiulio, and we're going to go over all of the mountain biking news and topics and randomness that we feel like today. You guys have a good weekend?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Excellent.
You ride bikes?
Yeah. I carried my bike about as much as I rode it, actually.
Dario went hike-a-biking, Matt went motorbiking. That's
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good. We're getting
I feel
into
like
the prime time.
one time a year you have to pay the troll toll and do something really stupid. Usually it's early spring when there's still a lot of snow on the ground, so I think I paid my toll this week.
Yeah. Yeah, you just get excited and then you go somewhere and then you realize that it's not worth it. Sometimes.
It's not summer yet. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Well, we'll start with some news bits because it's, after Sea Otter, things mellowed out a little bit, but there are still some news items that we should probably talk about. And we'll start with Revel Bikes. Got the unfortunate news that Revel shut down. They cited industry challenges. Looked like they're around $8 million in debt. But the strange thing was we had just talked to Revel at Sea Otter. They had 3 brand new bikes launched, an e-bike, a trail bike, and an enduro bike, kind of their first bigger travel enduro bike. And now basically they're just gone, at least for now. Did you guys, either of you have any forewarning about that? And you chatted with them at
No,
Sea
I
Otter
mean, same deal.
Right?
Talked to them at Sea Otter and didn't seem that there was any indication of hard times, but it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's kind of strange Matt, same thing. You wrote up those bikes, you wrote the press releases and put together the first looks, and then they're just gone. It's unfortunate, and I think a lot of these, they didn't come out and say exactly why the $8 million in debt is definitely part of it. Basically, the bank kind of stepped in and said, "Hey, we need our money," and they didn't have the money. But there's plenty of speculation whether that's tariff related or just the general kind of economic climate. But I could see some of these companies, if tariffs happen or if just costs in general increase, if they're on that kind of fine line between in business and not in business, it gets pretty tricky.
Yeah. And then, comparing them to Nuke Proof and some of the other bigger conglomerates we've seen, like if it came down to one investor pulling out, maybe it left them really shortchanged. So things are changing wildly and quickly lately, which is troubling.
No, I don't like it. Sure. Yeah, and I was excited for those bikes. Like, cool. And Revel's always been kind of a smaller brand trying to compete against the bigger companies. They had that CBF suspension design that has, I'd say, the fans of that Canfield's fans are some of the most rabid in the industry.
It's true.
People, it's kind of almost like you get some DW Link fans too. They're like, this is the only suspension that works. I need this. It is magical. But to be fair, if you ride it and love it, that's a good reason to have those feelings. But yeah, it's too bad to see them shut down. And then I also saw the news that I guess Rocky Mountain, there was an attempted employee kind of buyback. They were trying to get the brand going again, and that one seems to have not gone through. There's also maybe a little conglomerate of bike shops that tried too. I don't think there's official news out about who's purchasing Rocky or if it's happened, but it's another brand that kind of suddenly went away and is trying to get back off the ground, but hasn't.
Is that a matter of them bidding for viability or?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it was bidding, and they put together ex-employees put together a proposal to try to get it going, and what I saw, it didn't work out. But yeah, it's tough times for these small to mid-sized companies. It's too bad because I don't want it to be just a 3-brand show or no brand show, basically. So hopefully things improve or at least stabilize.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have in the news? It was again a little bit quieter. We got some. What do we have? Oh, also unfortunate news. I don't want to start this all with just really sad news, but Franco Fratton passed away. He was the head of EXT suspension. I think all of us have encountered him at trade shows and things in the past. Super nice guy, very knowledgeable. He had a history back in F1. Did some tuning for the Ferrari team, and then in more recent years was kind of focused on rally and mountain bike stuff. So he passed away suddenly, but that was super sad. It's always it's just, he was one of those guys that you could talk to about suspension forever, and he just always had the time of day for whoever wanted to chat suspension. Super passionate. So
yeah, he did. He was so passionate, man. Yeah, it was big bummer to see, but yeah, EXT suspension will be at a loss without him, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally. But those are the kind of people that kind of just stick out in the industry. The ones that you can tell that they're into it just for the right reasons. They really enjoyed developing and iterating and making new things, where it's, some people are just trying to make a quick buck, which if you're doing that, mountain bike is not the place to do it. But yeah, so he'll be missed.
Yeah.
We should do, I guess, Dario, you had not quite a show and tell, but something that you noticed on the internet that was interesting this weekend?
Oh, the natural selection ski.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, that was.
I didn't introduce that quite well, but yes.
No.
Tell me about your internet browsing lately.
Yeah, I, as a very casual skier, watched the entire 3.5 hour natural selection ski event up in Alaska, and was just so impressed. Like, A, the level of skiing, B, the fact that they were able to broadcast from the middle of nowhere on some insane mountain face. It was a really impressive event.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
won
example
by
of,
a mountain bike adjacent person too.
yeah. Spoiler alert, but yeah, Charlie Murray's
Oh,
brother. No, I don't think people are. I'm just saying. I'm going to tell people who won. So if you haven't watched it, yeah, you'll could stop now and watch it if you have 3 hours to spare. But yeah,
or
Charlie
just watch
Murray's
like the
brother.
highlights if they have that yet.
Yeah. Craig Murray won it, and it's just one of those things that even if you don't ski, if you just watch it and kind of see what people are doing in a different sport and how it works. This one, the
So
format is kind of
cool.
like Red Bull Rampage style, where you go down the slope and the best line and the best tricks kind of combines to give you your score. But the things they're doing and the amplitude and speed and it's essentially blind riding because you scope your line, but you've never hit these features before, and it's wild. Yeah, have you seen any of that, Matt?
I haven't seen the ski one. I watched the snowboard one from Revelstoke a couple months ago, but yeah, like Dario being sort of a casual snowboarder and getting into some of those lines and following some friends that are way better at skiing than me, and they're not even close to this level.
Yeah.
Just having the respect to those athletes that can analyze that and hit that without riding it is insane.
It's pretty crazy. The level of skiing these days is so high, and we're starting to see some crossover athletes too, like Y10 Ho from the he's an enduro bike racer, lives in Whistler, but he won the last stop of the free skiing world tour this year. So yeah, if people are into skiing and watch him, he also mountain bikes too. But yeah, it's just it makes sense. Like if you have the brain that allows you to hit an 80-foot cliff on skis at speed, you're probably going to be pretty good on a bike, like picking lines and doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But it is pretty neat to see the crossover. And I think that Y10, I think he's on Commensal skis for skiing and then Commensal bikes for racing. I'm pretty sure. Apologies if that's not his ski sponsor, but I think that might be the case. So, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. And then I guess right next to him is Margus Gogan, which is a good segue into what we're going to talk about later. He's a Rosignol sponsored athlete, and he won an event last year. He's another Sea to Sky local. Just an absolute center. So yeah, those two guys kind of riding and skiing buddies and competitors, but at such a young age too. It's so cool to see them absolutely firing out there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like back in the day, like I've always been into watching free skiing, and back in the day, it was always been cool. But there used to be kind of like you'd hit the big air, you'd go straight, the big line, straight air, and these people would basically just straight line the whole mountain. But now they're doing that, but with 720s tossed in, or like cork everything, and it's just
like shutting down the runouts to get like back over to another feature that's like across a cliff band. It's insane. Like Sam Cooch's middle run, like his semifinal run, he was stitching together like it was mostly just like beautiful floater transfers, but it just didn't make sense how he was able to like cross the mountain so many times.
Yeah. And the
really
cool thing
sick.
is I feel like with skiing, it's not as much about the equipment. Like skis have definitely evolved and things have changed, but realistically, they've had fat skis for a while and the shapes are kind of defined. It's kind of what you're starting to see with mountain biking, where mountain bikes, the geometry, I don't foresee any radical changes anytime soon. So it's kind of like you have this is your tool, but it's what you do with it that is changing. I think it's just it's almost the mental game, or what people are recognizing that they can unlock, which is really cool to see. It's not like one person's winning because of some magical pair of skis. They're all just out there,
right?
Just sending it.
And you think about how much older skiing is than mountain biking as a sport. Like, it kind of gives hope to mountain biking in terms of how much it can still evolve. Like, once say we do hit peak bike and it's that way forever, like there's still massive evolution that can come out of the sport.
Wow, for sure. And going back to the to Rosignol, Matt, I'm going to get a little bit of show and tell, but I think that's a good segue into that, like you said. So there's a new Rosignol bike just came out a couple days ago by the time you're listening to this. And the last one you reviewed, not such a great experience, right?
No, yeah, it could have been better, we'll say. But yeah, this is the Heretic. It's their enduro bike. This latest version is more up to spec in terms of rigidity. Kinematics are revised, and the fork is now a 170. It was a 160 before, so the travel is actually bumped up at both ends. And yeah, it's very much I won't say like the cookie cutter, but it is a 4-bar horse link bike. So it does look like a lot of other ones, but they've done a really, really great job at building this bike. And the first ride was amazing. I went down to Utah and we were riding all sorts of different terrains, some XC up and down pedally stuff, some steeper skiddy trails, and lots of chunky descents with tons of jumps thrown in too. So yeah, I was able to handle it all well and good, and we're going to get it back for a long-term test. So I'm excited to spend more time on this thing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, those changes they make does look great, just even on paper. You know, like I think the leverage ratio dropped a bunch, so it should be a little bit easier for a wider range of rider weights to set up, and everything kind of just got tweaked. It's like you said, it's maybe cookie cutter, but the first cookie cutter was almost like closer to a catalog bike, you might say. They just kind of like picked it. It didn't seem like they did a ton, but this one they really looks, at least to me, it looks like they really worked on refining it.
Yeah, I should actually retract. Cookie cutter is the wrong word. It's
no, but you can make good cookies. Like cookie cutter doesn't matter. It's whatever the cookie comes out like. And this one's a nice tasty snickerdoodle or something. I don't know. It's a good. This one makes good cookies. It seems like
you have to have good batter to
exactly
cut with the cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's all designed in house this time. Like you said, it's not a catalog frame, and everything's really well thought out, well packaged, and solid for sure.
Yeah, it looks cool. And yeah, you can run mixed wheels or 29-inch wheels. And the prices aren't insane. It doesn't look like there's the higher end build like $6,200. Yeah, I think it's a place for this. I like seeing on a longer travel bike launched. I feel like there's been a slight drought in enduro bikes lately as far as new ones go. Which there's lots of good not new bikes, but for us, I don't know. It's kind of nice to have a longer travel bike roll in to ride. I was riding
on an e-bike. Which is
and not an e-bike too.
A lot of long travel e-bikes right now, but more than I need.
Yeah, I know. But even then, they seem like they cap them at like 150. A lot of the most recent ones. And it's like I'd like the long travel. True. Like this weekend, I was like riding my Raw, and then I was happy because there's like all this travel, and I was smashing through rough stuff. Like this is so fun. I want more bikes like this to try. Yeah, it's like I mean, obviously I'll go ride the XC bike today or something. Gotta mix it up, but it is nice when the big bikes come out.
I had a big bike weekend, and it was quite nice.
So fun.
Yeah.
That segues to my show and tell, which is doing a lower service on your fork. I hadn't serviced the 38 on my frameworks like since early winter, and did it a couple days ago, and it just feels so nice. Don't buy something new, just service your fork. It feels great.
Yeah.
I
think we have some reader questions later on we'll get to that relates to that as well. But yeah, it's
really?
if you haven't done it, or if you don't know how to do a fork lower service, it's actually pretty easy, even if like just for basic mechanic skills. If you've never done it before, you'll probably spill some oil and things might be a little frustrating, but once you do it, it's pretty quick, like within a half an hour, and it does make a big difference. So yeah, if it's been a while, this is our spring reminder. Aren't you supposed to like change the batteries in your
and your smoke detectors?
That's a thing. I forget about that a lot too.
Check your smoke detectors and service your fork.
That's our public service
PSA.
I'm trying to think what I've got for a show and tell. I have a pile of little things. I've got some knee pads. I feel like my show and tells are boring until I have a cool thing, but I'm on some stuff like that I can't talk about quite yet. There's things coming out in the future, but there are these knee pads. I want to tell people that I like them because I did a little checkout article came out last week, and there's some new chest protectors and things came out. Like Ian has a Nico Vink's signature chest protector, and people seem to have questions about that type of stuff and like certifications of padding, which is, if you buy knee pads or protectors, they're either typically level 1 or level 2 certified, and that's just kind of like how much impact they can absorb. So these ones are some pretty basic EVOC knee pads, but they're level 2 certified, and they use their own pad inside it. Which I like using a level 2 certified pad just in case I do crash. I might as well have more protection. I'd say these ones fit pretty similar to the Rafa knee pads as far as like the coverage they provide, and they're super comfy. I've been running them the last few months. So, and this padding that they made, they invented them, or they developed it in house, I guess. But their goal is to make it not harden up or get too soft in like different temperatures. I don't know if you guys ever tried to go out in the wintertime with like cold pads. Now they don't even then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this stuff stays pretty flexible. I haven't gotten in warm temperatures yet, but they say it doesn't get like too mushy either. So
Gooey.
seems good.
It melts
like
onto your
$100.
skin.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Knee pads
I
are.
came across this protection company called Cased. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
customized body armor that also comes with like a weighted outer clothing. I might reach out to them. I'm kind of curious about it, but it's like chest, back, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, and it's like a skin suit that you pull on.
It's like the
And
old
then
days,
there's
like
like
the
a
old Genies.
kind of, yeah. It's like the Dainese stuff, but like soft and underneath like a outer that they make. But it's also like $1,200 for the full system.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've been talking to the creator of that, or the owner.
Oh, no way. Okay.
It's a younger kid named Rhett, and he also developed a bike park down in Texas, which is
really
wild.
Right. Yeah. It's the same
For
kid.
such a young
Interesting.
guy. Yeah.
Huh.
So he's a go-getter, and that stuff looks pretty good. I told him we would, revisit it once bike park season came around.
Yeah.
But I do dig that sort of base layer style equipment, especially for downhill racing, just because it stays locked on a little tighter than just like the more basic pads we would wear.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
That
as it
makes
gets closer
sense.
to World Cup season, might be interesting. We've done it in the past, but maybe kind of like check in with the riders, the World Cup riders, and see what they're using this year, because they're not secretive, but they definitely like have their form-fitting jerseys and things. You never actually see like what's underneath there, like what's Bruni got on for elbow pads, or is he wearing, like that kind of thing. Is I think there's interest in that. Not that what they use should reflect what other people should use, but they are the fastest in the world, so it's interesting to see what they think will protect them.
Yeah, funny tidbit on that. Alpine Stars just released, or I don't know if they released, but some of the moto riders were wearing one of those like inflatable chest protectors for the last Supercross races, and it's pretty neat how it works. It's supposed to activate and then actually deflate again in 25 seconds. So if you do have a crash, you don't end up like a Michelin Man. You can actually keep riding. But they're wearing it under some really tight clothing. So one of the guys crashed, and he was like walking around for a minute, and then my new crash, they got going again. But yeah, it does seem to work, and he was able to keep riding, so that was interesting to see.
That's cool. Yeah, they use that in MotoGP too, right? Don't they have something like that?
Yeah, Dainese's had that tech around for a while.
Yeah,
but this is a much slimmer package, I think, and it'd be interesting to see if that actually develops and transpires down into mountain biking and regular park riding down the road.
Yeah, I know we've seen some like kind of strange inventions where it's like the thing around your neck where you don't wear a helmet, and it's just it's like a commuter style thing where it's just designed to kind of like cover your whole head with a hood if you do crash, which I don't know if I trust that, but the idea of like inflatable body armor could be
safety.
Yeah, you're just like
the force field.
Yeah.
Also, like the gyros in those are pretty sensitive, and I'd be kind of worried like mountain biking with one. Just I don't know. We do things where you're on your bike, but you're kind of simulating what might be a crash in other scenarios. So like imagine going off a huge drop and then the cone inflates around your head. You're just blind. At least you're safe. But
yeah, or just come up and like slap your buddy on the back real hard and just goes like, just like around the yeah. It's like the thing of pulling like the avalanche airbag in the tram. If you can just like if you get out the tram door and reach back and pull it, and then I've never done that, but I've seen it.
That'd be funny.
Idea. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, it does feel like like body armor and that stuff's another area that could be room for some more kind of futuristic developments. And like most of us, it's interesting too how that's all kind of changed. Like a lot of us back in the day wore the D&E suit. Like I remember having just not the full one. I think only like some people had the full one that like zipped up from head to toe, but just the upper body armor was like most rides back in like the early 2000s were like, I need this to be safe. And now it's just, things change, but I definitely wear knee pads for 90% of my rides, I'd say, but it just kind of depends. Yeah. Is that your program out? The knee pads usually?
I've been wearing the full face a lot more lately, the lighter weight ones. Yeah. Especially on the e-bike. Like there's really no excuse for that. I always wear eyewear as well, glasses or goggles. It's just, you only get one set of eyes, and they're so light. They're so cheap. I mean, why not bring them? Why not wear them? But yeah, generally knee pads. There is a Pemberton Enduro coming up, and that place, I've been up there a couple times lately, and it's pretty horrific if you fall.
Pretty sharp. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna wear elbow pads for the race. Yeah.
Would you wear a
Just-
chesty or just elbow and knee?
I thought about that too. I remember one of the enduro guys, Damien Oton, used to
Mhm.
race with the chesty all the time, and
Mhm.
yeah, it wouldn't be out of the question. Like, if somebody rocked up to the start gate and had that on, I'd be like, yeah, why not? And I actually see a lot of kids riding around Squamish with like half shells and chest protectors on.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would
What sport is that? Like,
require-
there's a specific trail they've decided that they're gonna, if they do hit, yeah,
Yeah, like why no full face and put the chest? I don't know.
yeah. That's like sometimes every once in a while you see someone with like the Liat brace and a half shell, which is not a thing.
Oh,
Like that will. There's
It, like,
actually very
does not
dangerous to
work.
do that.
Yeah.
No, you can.
Yeah.
I think you can break your neck that way. So don't do that. But you do see people that get their like the order of operations for body armor confused. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it is nice.
I
Like
get. Good.
oh, I was just gonna. It's nice that there is a little bit more pedalable, like chest and back stuff. Even like I think I have a Fox thing I'm wearing in the bike park, but it's almost like a jersey that goes under your other jersey, and I like that. Just like doesn't feel like
Mhm.
much.
Yeah, and some of those backpacks, like I think Evoc has implemented that safety tech you were just talking about, Mike, into a backpack with a spine protector. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of those options out there as well.
yeah. Or even I think I mean they can't advertise it, but if you have your Camelback bladder with some water in it, that does provide spine protection. Like it's not advertised as that, but like if you're compared to nothing, like that will help you. They can't obviously they can't say that because if you drink all your water, you're losing protection as you ride. So you have to like, but I think it is better than nothing.
Canyon makes chamois with an integrated back protector.
Wait, how's that work? It just comes
Yes.
up from like the
It's like bibs with a back protector sleeve, and then they make like a D3O insert that goes into it.
All right. I mean, I guess if you're wearing
Channels
chamois,
all the
knows.
sweat.
yeah.
I wonder if anyone's ever bought one, but yeah, they do exist. They also said you could use it as a bladder pack, but
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like drinking from the. I was getting confused.
no. Wait,
like drink your sweat from the.
no.
Oh,
It's like
God.
Yeah, I
like
get it.
a
It goes in the
sleeve that you
sleeve.
could put anything in, but they
Right.
make a D3O or a Camelback insert.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that stuff's hard. Yeah, talking about like what you wearing is difficult because you don't want to. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to jinx myself. It's like one of those.
I know.
It's such a personal
Yeah.
thing. You don't ever want to tell someone like you have to do this or don't do this. But yeah, I'm similar program to you, Matt. I don't wear the full face as much as you, but definitely glasses because I just hate picking stuff out of my eyes and then the knee pads.
I wear glasses.
Yeah, you have to. I think.
Yeah.
I voluntarily do it.
But that's why I wear the giant ones, is I'm like, if I'm gonna wear these all the time, they might as well be almost the size of riding glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good option.
Cool. Yeah, do we have, let's see. Was that your show and tell, Dario?
Mine was doing your lowers.
Yeah,
your lowers.
That's a good show and tell. It's
Yeah.
good advice. Well, I think we've got some reader questions today. Do a little session of them. Let's see what we've got. And if anyone that does want to send us some questions, you can either add them into the comments or we have this little internet voicemail thing that you can click on and we can hear your nice voice. So feel free to send those and we'll get to them. All right. Our first question is from Bobby.
Hello, Pinkbike. This is Bobby, and I am in disbelief. I just learned that they make forks with non-replaceable bushings, and I'm not talking about department store bike forks. Under your recent article for Marzocchi Super Z, there was a comment that piqued my interest, which was, is it a disposable Fox like the Z2 and the Z1, as you can't replace the bushing when they are dead? Because these are cast. I proceeded to take my anxiety and doubts to the internet, where I found out that, in fact, Z2 has irreplaceable bushings. I did not find any info of this on the Fox/Marzocchi website. Even if it is there, it should be easy to see, not submerged under marketing sewage. I am an owner of last gen oil, and I was planning to run the fork until my frame cracks, and then more. Now I am itching to do a lower leg service sooner to check this out myself and get rid of it while it still works. My main concern is whether the new Marzocchi Super Z and old Z1 have replaceable bushings. If they don't, I am honestly ditching Fox and Marzocchi forever.
Yeah, I can. His level of anger is I can feel his anger.
Strong.
He is very mad.
I like the term marketing sewage a lot.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to start using
And I've got bad news for Bobby. The RockShox lowers, you can't replace the bushings either, so you're going to be real sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think like years ago you could replace bushings, but I also would say that bushings wore out faster. Like, I don't want to defend non-replaceable bushings, but I think they've done that just in order to. I think it was like a conscious choice on Fox and RockShox just in order to keep the tolerances the same, and it is kind of a pain to replace bushings. So
I think I want to defend non-replaceable bushings because
yeah,
how often they don't wear out that quickly. I don't know.
that's what I mean.
Like,
yeah. But
yeah,
the fact that you do have to get a whole new lowers does seem kind of silly. Like if they did wear out,
but it
say,
might be
in 10
after
years,
like 8 years of riding. Like,
yeah. But what if it was $20 in bushings instead of $300 in lowers?
yeah, fair. I mean,
So
it would
like
be
I
better,
get his frustration, but I could also say that it's really rare. Usually, if your bushings do develop play or have issues, it'll happen within the first few weeks of riding if they're like sized wrong, and then that's a warranty.
And then it's a warranty issue.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, the warranty's got you if they are incorrect, and if they are not, then should you maintain the service interval, all things should be good.
Yeah, like I was trying to find if there was any sort of if like RockShox or Fox published anything of how long they thought their bushings should last. I couldn't find it, but like I know on motos and things, I think it's like 15,000 miles, or like on it's a very high number, and it would take years and years theoretically before your bushings have issues, unless like we said there.
Yeah. And if tolerances are good and you're keeping up with service, like in theory, it is like a low enough friction item that you should be like avoiding any damage that would occur from cycling. Like
yeah,
as long as you're running oil in there, and it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I might actually fall into the case for defending the non-replaceable ones if they can make them spec'd consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think if they last long enough. Yeah.
On occasion, I will still get a fork with like bushing play within the first couple weeks, but it's just a warranty issue, and it's frustrating and would be super shitty if you just bought a brand new bike. But luckily, the brands are all good for that. So
yeah, I think most of them at least have a couple year warranty, so that thing would be covered. So I hear the frustration, but I don't think it's necessarily justified. Especially, it was interesting. He's like going to ride. What was his plan to ride his bike?
He's going to ride his bike until the frame cracks, and then continue to use the fork for the next cracked frame.
Probably still can keep rocking it, and then
I have a Pike that I've had for probably 6 years now, and bushings are good. It's been through, like, I used it as like a bike packing fork for 2 summer trips that were like quite a bit of use, and it's still fine. So it's use case of one, but like a tremendous amount of mileage on one fork, and it's still fine. So
it does seem like the last one. Even like I'd say seals these days last a long time too. Back it used to be that you'd have to replace oil seals more regularly, but now it's we do the lower service, but I'll typically leave the seals and the dust wipers in place and just make sure everything's nice and clean. I think that part of the fork for most companies seems like they've kind of taken care of that, and it's rare that you see a fork just like gushing oil out the top, bro. Like the old days, your oil seal would go and there'd just be oil streaks everywhere. And I think we're in a pretty good place as far as like that level of durability goes.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, hopefully he sounds like he might need to get out for a ride. He sounded very angry. Like some things are silly in the bike industry, but if like non-replaceable bushings are making you that angry, I'm a little bit worried. So hopefully he gets to go out for a ride soon. Yeah. All right. Let's go to our next caller. It's going to be from, let's see, we've got one from Kale. See what Kale has to say.
Hey, gentlemen, it's Kale from Regina, Saskatchewan here. I have a Norco Fluid FSC3. It is a 140, 130 millimeter trail bike, and it has a 44 millimeter offset pike select on it. I have a 130 millimeter, 51 millimeter offset pike ultimate I'd like to put onto it. And I would like to know what the correlation between changing the 10 millimeter drop in travel as well as the 51 millimeter offset has in the ride characteristics, and how those two affect each other, and what I could expect from the ride characteristics if I did switch it out.
Oh, the old geometry steering conundrum.
Yeah, we get some trigonometry going.
Can I offer a alternative.
Yes.
Just put the damper from your ultimate fork into your select fork and don't change the air spring height.
Yeah, I think
Because
that would.
meaningfully, that's the difference between those two forks is the damper. There's buttercups, but
Yeah. He could do a swap. I
mostly
mean,
it's the
who knows?
damper.
Maybe he crashed his other fork and it's got huge scratches and needs to
Yeah,
replace. But if he does,
maybe.
I mean, he'll be going 10 mils less, so your head angle is going to steepen by about half a degree around there. So, and you're handling, because you go into a 51 offset, your trail number is changing. So overall, your front end will feel a little bit quicker. That's pretty much it. You might notice it, and you probably will only notice it on the first few rides, along with the 10 mils less travel. But realistically, your front end steering is just going to be a little bit quicker, and your front end's going to be a little bit lower too.
Yeah, I feel like the lower front end feel is going to be much more significant than the change in offset. That's a bigger perceivable
changing
change.
two things at once. I think that's what you'll notice first. But yeah, like Dario said, you have the option to swap the dampers, and if you don't like it, do that option. So
yeah, or another thing, and also if you wanted to preserve your front end height but somehow still have this fork and didn't want to change anything, you get those little crown race extensions, basically not extension, but it's like a taller crown race, like 10 mils. So you could put that on, and that would keep your front end height exactly the same. You would just have less travel, and that's an option. They're pretty cheap too.
You could also put the ultimate fork on and put the air spring from your select into that, right? I don't think the air springs are.
Yeah. No, you can also do that. Yeah, if you want to keep that 140.
The buttercup forks.
Yeah, it depends which. Yeah, it depends which years he's talking about.
True.
But even that, yeah.
I liked that bike.
Too expensive
I reviewed that bike and I liked it with a 140 fork. I didn't try it with a 130 fork, but I don't know that I would seek out less travel on it personally. But I also haven't ridden in Saskatchewan, so
yeah, totally. So yeah, options. So yeah, if you want it to be a little bit quicker, maybe a little sportier, just stick that fork on and you'll be fine. But you could also modify things, either keep the front end height the same, or like we were saying, you can just swap the internals from one fork into the other. Takes a little bit of time, but it's really just not any more difficult than the lower leg service we keep talking about in this show. Yeah. Nice. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what we got. There was a question. I feel like somebody asked a question in the comments from the last one. We'll dig that up, but we'll do a recorded one first. This is some multimedia stuff here. All right, our next question comes from Nick. Let's see what Nick has to say.
G'day, Pinkbike crew from Australia. As a mountain biker that's old enough to remember the first time that purple anodizing was cool, I was quite taken by the special edition Yeti you guys spoke about recently. Now, I'm looking at special edition Ducati motorcycles that seem to appreciate and value the day they're sold in the same way that Porsches and Ferraris do, or vintage Italian road bikes that are super collectible. Even 90s fluoro pink Jeremy McGrath motocross bikes seem to be getting crazy expensive. Can you see a point where old and special edition mountain bikes start to gain value and become collectible? Like an OG Gary Fisher with a height right seat post, or a Foes or mountain cycle San Andreas? Not sure if you've hit this subject before, so my apologies if you've heard this one.
I think we're already there. I did a buy-sell article, I don't know, 2 months ago, and there was a Carpiel Armageddon for sale for $15,000 for the frame. So,
well, do you think people are buying them? I guess the thing, are people actually buying those?
No, but there's whether the market will bear it or not. I think there is that level of let's say vintage collectible stuff in mountain biking. You'll see an old Klein rigid bike for sale for way more than the original cost. But it does kind of beg the question whether a current crop carbon bike would be the same. I think it will be in time, depending on the bike, but it'll just take a while.
I did a deep dive on Thursday last week, just sifting through the buy and sell, went through the vintage selection as well, and yeah, there were some funny finds. I actually put a bunch on my watch list, and I'll build an article for this. But yeah, one of them that made me laugh out loud was a Baltha stem. It's just like a CNC chunk of aluminum. It's quite heavy and chunky looking. It's going for $135 US, and then There's like a Brooklyn Machine Works Race Link on here for like $8,000. There's a
Wow.
Kona Stinky Deluxe for $6,000. There's some special things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the Kona, I don't know if that that one really merits spending a couple grand to hang on your wall, but there's some funny finds. So I'll toss those up. But to answer this guy's question, I think we're, like Dario said, we're already there. Like that's been going on for a while, and it probably peaked through COVID where people were looking to unload stuff, make some extra cash, whatever it was. And there were some astronomical prices out there for some wild stuff.
Yeah, it probably depends on like the vintage of the bike. I think the ones that are actually, like you mentioned, like an old Gary Fisher or like a, the original mountain bikes, those are definitely like collector's items where I don't know. Yeah, like a Kona Stinky at the moment might not be the collector's item for some people, but it'd be interesting to see how that develops kind of.
Yeah. It's got to be rare too. Like if there's
exactly.
Like you see that all the time, like people trying to sell like mid-gen old stump jumpers, like the early 90s ones or late 80s when they were making like hundreds of thousands of them, and they'd be like, oh, like original stump jumper for sale for $2,000. And you're like, no, that's like you can get that for $110 at a used bike store of some sort. Like knowing what the specific value of a thing is obviously still matters, but I have some Brooklyn Machine Works bar ends, just like caps on the outside of the grip that some customer brought into the shop years and years ago, and I've never put them on a bike just because I don't need to run bar end protectors. But I looked them up, and people are selling them on eBay for like $200 for the set.
Yeah, some stuff isn't worth it. So be aware of what you're buying sometimes. But if you get a good deal, I mean, now is a time where you can probably find some bikes for a good deal that might be worth something. But I guess that's the thing. I wouldn't go into mountain bike collecting as an investment thing. Like you shouldn't expect that your bikes now are going to be worth things in the future. You should just ride them and treat them as more like tools rather than museum pieces. I don't know. That's what I feel like. But someone out there is probably playing the mountain bike speculation market. I am still looking. If anyone has a medium Iron Horse Sunday that they would like to sell me for a low price, please let me know.
Wait, are you not getting the one this week?
I've tried to, but the person's not messaging me back. So anyone else out there that's in the U.S. or close by, let me know if you got a medium Iron Horse Sunday. I'd like to ride one.
Matt, are you falling prey to nostalgia as well and buying an old bike?
We're all going to have sweet old bikes this year.
No, I have one that's actually in pieces that needs to be restored, but I have like a 2003 Intense Taser FS.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Good bike park season this year.
We should do a vintage bike day at the bike park this year.
It'd be fun to try to make it a thing, like organize it a little bit, like underground vintage. Just tell everybody,
send a message out. Yeah.
Just like ride your old stuff, and it'd be fun.
Good shout.
I'm not going to show my full hand, but I have a very old bike that I'm doing something with right now. So it's
cool. Excited to see it.
Yeah. Nice.
God, is it ugly? Oh, it's so beautiful.
So it's good though. It's perfect. It's a perfect bike.
Yeah.
I think we can close out. We had one more written in question. We'll finish off with this one. Yeah, a question heavy one, but this one is from Grady Harris. He says he wants some tire advice. He's currently running Exo Plus Assegays front and rear, and he says it's way too sluggish, and he wants to know what's worth buying right now for aggressive trail riding, lives and rides in Colorado backcountry, if that matters at all. So I would say my advice was get the Assegay off as a rear tire. That's a very slow rear tire.
Just run a DHR or you could run a Forecaster in
exactly.
Colorado. Like most of the backcountry stuff, you don't need like massive braking traction. It's more, consistent cornering and stuff.
Aggressor.
Yeah, he didn't say exactly what bike this was on, but the
it's just fluid. It's like Norco fluid. Sorry, I skipped that part. Overforked Norco fluid. So
both of those tires would be good for rear, and then it depends on the compound as well. So maybe the Maxterra Outback would be the best, and if you're willing to sacrifice that rolling resistance, go for the Max Grip up front. But plenty of tread options. The Assegay is definitely not the fastest.
Yeah. You can do like Specialized Butcher. We've talked about those, or ground controls, like depending. Or if he wants to stick with Max's, going with the DHF as a front tire, which isn't as popular anymore. But in Colorado, it's actually like tire works really well, and it's faster rolling than the Assegay. So.
I've been running the Albert radial as a rear tire on my big bike in like the soft rubber, not the super soft stuff. And it is not nearly as slow as an Assegai, so I kind of like the balance there. But
Yeah, it's
I
almost
wouldn't
like
put it on the fluid. It's like more of a enduro bike rear tire.
Oh, but they make it no, that'd be good if compared to Assegai, they make it in a regular casing.
Yeah, that's true. If you got the trail
casing
one.
Yeah. I've got that on a bike now too. So yeah, if you want to try the radials, then the Albert, just run Albert front and rear, and they'll be pretty happy. Cool.
Yeah, there's a pretty speedy feeling.
Yeah. I think we did it. We made another episode. You guys have anything else we need to talk about? I think we got all our
Or
things.
go to semi-slick. Get a Minion SS.
Yeah, if you can find those, that's a fun tire. Yeah. I don't know if I guess I kind of miss having the little semi-slicks as an option, but they are very like, there's at least where we live, there's a narrow window in the summertime where like, this is the best tire. Yeah. And then it rains and you're like, I probably don't need a semi-slick today. And then you're sad. But
I ran them for a long time, but that was when I was living on California, Central Coast.
Yeah. I still miss the Max's Griffin. You guys remember that thing?
I do.
It only came in DH casing.
Best tire on earth. Yeah.
So good.
That's what that Michelin Force AM reminded me of. That's
like really?
Cool. Sort of tight laced tread pattern in the center and like slightly sharper, taller side lugs. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty close to the Griffin. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be a good option for the rear. Check out those Michelins. I reviewed those a couple weeks back.
Oh yeah, you too. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I feel like tires. Yeah, there's a lot more tires that actually work well these days. There's not just there are the two main brands or three main brands, I guess, but now there's starting to be other viable options that people are kind of figuring out their rubber compounds, and it's not all just super hard or seems like the last knobs don't just fall off when you look at them either, which is nice.
True. Yeah. Oh, the other Colorado tire could be Trail Boss WTB. It's like kind of a nice half between like something really fast and a bit beefier. It's got like decent cornering traction.
Did they? I guess the weight would be the only thing. I feel like even their lightest casing tends to be kind of heavy,
kind of beefy.
But still it might last a while. Pretty good rubber durability. Cool. All right. Well, that's another edition of exciting tire talk. Send us your questions, and then we'll get into some other more in-depth conversations in the near future. But these kind of just off the cuff chats are pretty fun though. But thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next week.